Fratelli the Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast. Fratelli the Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast. The Italian Rugby Podcast.
Welcome everyone, benvenuti in a new episode of Fratelli di Rugby Podcast. Ciao a tutti, ciao Mike.
Ciao, how you doing?
All good in this Monday. Finally we are in spring. We just kick out winter, even if it doesn't look like outside, but still, hey, we are in the spring after
Still
some
snow outside for you?
No, but it's really English, British almost. There is a British weather, the one
Bipolar, nice.
here. You feel home when you're here, right? Something
Yeah.
I really like after 5 years on the equator.
That's it. You had your vitamin D. No more vitamin D for you, mate. That's it. Now you get punished.
Man. So, Mike, it's been a really interesting weekend. We're gonna touch only on the URC. We're gonna have more interesting stuff to say about the women's rugby. They play against England, they lose against England, but it's really interesting what we can see from Fabio Rosselli, the new coach, the former URC coach of Zebre. Coaching. There is a couple of players, young players, really good. Bitonci, the number 9 that came in, was really good, but we're gonna speak about this later in the next weeks because the Six Nation Women just started, and that's for the national team women with Fabio Rosselli in charge. But it's been a drama week, a drama weekend. We said the
mate.
drama because all the games were so tight, and it's so interesting when you see scores like this because it wasn't like, okay, one team try at the end. Another was like colpo su colpo, from one side to the other one,
Blow
opponent.
for blow. For
Yes.
these people. Brilliant.
For teams,
brilliant.
kind of. Boom, just going back, and some really dramatic scenes. Let's think about Leinster losing after years, almost. That was big, and of course the Italian games, Mike, because the Italian games were really interesting because we had to wait until the last 5 minutes of the game to understand where the score was going. So that was something. Shall we start with the Zebre game, the first game of the weekend?
Yes. Yeah, let's do it.
I have also, as I said to you already, Mike, some interesting questions, really serious questions. You have to take those questions really seriously, and I hope also the chat is going to help us because, as usual, we are live YouTube and on X tonight, and please help us growing on our YouTube channel. Easy to find, Fratelli di Rugby Podcast as us, and you can rewatch all the videos, previous videos, interviews, podcast. If you are a YouTube podcast, as I am, for example, I prefer to. I use a lot more YouTube than Spotify. I saw that in me. So.
Oh really? Yeah.
Even
think
the podcast, I prefer it. I put it on YouTube because I always have a YouTube going when I'm working, data and stuff. But
yeah, especially like I don't think I've ever seen a comment on Spotify, whereas we look and we reply to every single comment that people make, and it's definitely more interactive, especially for these lives when people come online. It definitely helps because people will talk and they'll direct conversation as well. And we prefer that. So if you guys are watching on X, come over to YouTube and make yourself known.
Support, and let's go with it. I like this comment from Phantom. How wise Phantom sometimes. I won't say Zebre should have won, but they could have won. And I agree with this because the game was back-to-back, attacking from everywhere, a lot of mistakes, both teams. But then there were a couple of situations where at the end, when you commit those mistakes, the power game, but the scrum game of the Sharks was phenomenal, and that is the only gap that the Zebre team showed during this game against the Sharks. I think those minutes at the end, those as a yellow card changed everything. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was blow for blow. You're absolutely right. Like, obviously, they had scrum dominance, but I thought Zebre were brilliant at moving the big boys around the park and forcing them to make decisions in defence. And there was, again, swings and roundabouts. Zebre were better at some stuff than Sharks, and Sharks were better than some stuff at Zebre. The problem is when you have a scrum like that, and you can revert to kicking contestables, forcing really aggressive defense and stuff, and just revert to a 0 point because zero back to almost like factory settings, just to win scrums, win territory, win line outs, slow the ball down, especially when you're winning. Like, the South African teams are really tough teams to come back in a game against, because when they have scoreboard pressure, when they're winning, that it's just really hard to take it off them. They're just so good at it. So it's one of those, right? Zebre started really well, considering South Africa started. The South African team started strong, but yeah, it's one of those, isn't it?
We can say that probably they should have take more points at least in the first half, because let's think about those the line breaks. The pass from Jezinho, as we said, next Jezinho, the Jezi Junior, the youngest of the brother. Him passing to Drago in the first half, Mike. Oof, I was boiling. I was fuming in that moment. I had to read a couple of saints on the calendar, as we say in Italy, right? They came in my help in the situation, because I was sure that was going to be a score, a try, a standing try with a clean line breaks in the middle, fix and pass, and then the pass was there. Probably that situation, and of course when Mapimpi went out, and that was the other situation where you have to score more points, and you scored those 3 points. And
Yeah,
then
it was
the game, right?
Yeah, you're right. Like, same discussion as we were having about Italy last week, right? Like, you make a line break. It was very Menoncello, Brex-esque, right? That ball going to hand early with the support play. This might have been the second half as opposed to the first half. But again, Jesse's break, I think it was in midfield, where he was sort of sitting in the centres. Hey, that goes to hand early, and that's a walk-in. The Dominguez
The Dominguez man
pass, yeah. Hey, it's a tough lesson, isn't it?
No,
Because
I mean, are those situations where you can just feel bad for those moments in the game where because give one more of that, and you can keep also that yellow card for Haza for those 10 minutes, because you got the points that you deserve it, because those points are deserved. But the ball fell, knock on, whatever happened there. So not bad. I agree with part of this, which is going forward, backward, but controlled. Won a penalty, the ball then squirted out and kicked by Ferrari, if I'm right, something like that. Something happened in that situation, probably mixing the turnovers. But at the end, when you concede, the prop out for the yellow card in that area of the field, after many calls, you got a yellow card, you got points on the scoreboard, and you lose for those situations, plus the one that we already mentioned. But anyway, Mike, if you think also the team, we had some good feedback by Ruffolo, I think, the permit player from Colorno.
Mini Zambo.
Zambonino. So
he's put on mass, hasn't he? He's bulked up a little bit since we last saw him, which I think was a criticism that some people had.
And we saw him really being light but athletic.
Yeah,
really more, let's say, more elegant than Zambonin, the way he runs stuff. Zambonin is really the giraffe. Yes, he's the giraffe.
He's
the giraffe.
Yeah,
We saw him. We saw Fusco playing pretty well until he went out for HIA.
Yeah. What happened with that? He didn't come back on, did he? So he failed his HIA. I didn't see anything.
Right. So let's
see
see. Let's see what happens if something, maybe a pinch on a bicep. Who knows, Mike? Because I don't have any update too. So let's see with that. And there were another couple of changes because we didn't see Giacomo Dare after a long time, but we see a strong Monte Mauri, I would say.
Loved his offloading game. Loved it. I mean, he did it at inappropriate times, but he's clearly been working on that, like into contact. He did a couple of nice offloads. I watched the first half again, didn't I? Just now. Watch it. He does a couple into contact. Maybe the criticism of, or maybe the fact that people say Dare plays to the line, maybe might play in his head a little bit. But yeah, he tried some nice out the back chicken wing type offloads out the back door. I see it, Otto. Like I see what he's trying to do. He's trying to be a running 10. He's trying to be what Albornoz is to Benetton, as opposed to Dare, who makes everyone else look good.
That is interesting. How do you think Drago performed this game? A little bit in the shadow, kinda. Not so ball, hands every time, showing a little bit of passing game, playmaking. I didn't see that. I saw really more on the Paya style, but not the strongest Paya this game. That was.
I mean, he got bumped off by that 15, didn't he? In the first half, Jesus. No play. He got back up and he made the next tackle though. Like that's what you want, right? Great. But it looks like honestly, he just looks a little bit out of shape. Like he hasn't played enough this season, and you can tell.
No,
it looks like he's put on. Sorry.
Also, some injuries during this first season where he's supposed to play kind of like that, those minutes.
Yeah, like the formative moments when you've moved up, and also he looks like he's put on mass, which is good maths, but I think he needs to find his legs for it a little bit. He was a little bit slow on the turn. Like Drago at Benetton was a lot more mobile, a lot more agile, but probably not as impactful going forward. So I think what we're trying to see, we're seeing a transformation in Drago. I think he's probably going to try and be more of that, like Mori style, power athlete type thing. I think that's what he's trying to do. And it looks like he's got the physique to do it. So let's see how he develops over the next couple of seasons. But I don't think it was his best game, if I'm honest. But that's not a criticism. I want to say, if I hadn't played for so long and someone puts me against a team like the Sharks, it's tough to get like minutes. In the heat, to get like minutes under your legs, like. Anyone dropped into that position's not going to be 100%, but obviously there was sprinkles of brilliance there. Like that chop tackle he did immediately after he got bumped. He's a very, very talented young player. He just needs time.
And then we had, let's say, pretty standard game from the rest of the team. Like no big.
Trying to think
variation in their performance. I think
Jezino had a very good game, I think, like minus the mistakes, right? And everyone made mistakes.
He looks bigger than his brother.
Yes,
but still elegant and really fast.
Yeah, he doesn't run like a crackhead like Jersey does. He doesn't.
He doesn't push like Jersey does.
Well,
when he turn his body, hip, and start using his hand to push player away. It's not
like quick
that.
though, isn't he? They're both quick. Both got very fast twitch muscles. Those two boys, like they're quick. But yeah, it's interesting to see sort of his development as well. I thought he had a much better game than we previously saw. I felt a little bit for the forwards, but I think they stood up. Andreani did some amazing bits, and other bits I
Couple of
think he was
huge,
targeted a little bit, but
a couple of huge tackles too, huh?
yeah,
A really good
yeah,
tackle.
yeah.
One mention goes to Jack Sparrow. So Jack Ferrari, because I mentioned to you when he scored a try that came from a line out after a lot of pressure that everything started from one of his kicks.
Mm.
So he got this ball, he kicks away, and he's the first one running down 20 minutes in before the water break. Push on Emmerman, keep the ball in, attack, penalty, line out, water break, attack. And then he scored, so I was happy for that, and always good
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
him.
He's
And
he's starting to start, like we knew that he had the talent to be a very, very good player. He's starting to show it, and he's finding the right time to do it ahead of the summer. I think like he's starting to put his hand up a little bit as well.
so Mike, now I have a couple of let's say normal questions, and then I'm gonna give you the silly questions. So what kind of lesson can we take from this match, and how Zebre goes into this tour? Like, it's gonna be another impressive effort if they can keep the physicality of the Bulls next week. But how they're facing this final stretch of the URC?
So it's funny. I was actually thinking this exact question before we jumped on. For me, it shows that Zebre are good enough to play with like the playoff teams. So had they started like this at the start of the season, we'd be talking about them in playoffs, and that's not, even if they won this game, we'd be talking about them in playoffs. So clearly they are good enough to be a playoff team. So what have we learned about Zebre so far? I think we've learned that they're a lot better than people are giving them credit for. And I think actually what else we've learned is Brunello, Dave Ceci, all of the coaches there are very, very good coaches, and they're in good spots. So that's what we've learned about Zebre this season, right?
And the situation is still, but it's so different, right, from last year when they were in the Dragon's position, and now, anyway, they're still attached to this group of teams with Scarlets, Lions, Connacht. They're all games really close, but of course the South African tour is different. It's different, and also the results games in it differently, but they're there, not far away from the rest of the group, which is always good. They're not with the last, Mike.
Let's be honest, Otto. Had they won that game against Benetton, right, that the 81st, what was it, 80th minute that they penalty, had they kicked that penalty against Lions, had they won yesterday, that's 9 points. And then what we're talking them in, like I said, playoff position,
Playoff
of
time.
course. So like they're not far off. It's just consistency, like it always is with Italian teams. And let's see how they play against Bulls. But I do think Bulls are going to come prepared and accept that this is a challenge that they need to be, 100% for. Because if they're not, I think Zebre can cause an upset next week.
I would like to see an upset in that, but let me see. Yeah, here we go. Josh saying this. We have a couple of infos about for the preview of this game. And let me put it on so we can see this how crazy can be a win against the Bulls. The most recent defeat at Loftus Versfield to an overseas opponent in the championship was last season final to Glasgow. Talking about the Bulls.
Yeah.
Only previous defeat to an Italian opponent is the Rainbow Cup final. Ha ha ha. So nice. And that's it. This is the first time for Zebre to play Loftus. So it's gonna be also different. It's different, of course. It's not gonna be full as a Springboks game, but still, it's this huge cathedral.
Hopefully, it's more full than the Sharks game. I was surprised.
And the other point is also altitude, because that is something that it's so hard to adapt, Mike. I lived I when I play rugby, not professional, of course, but 2,800 meters in Quito, and was crazy. After maybe you were there 3 weeks and then you try to run, it's hard. So I see how they can feel, and of course how light can be the ball with the kicking game, which is going to be also interesting to see how they're going to develop in this game. Any changes for this game?
Force changes maybe. Dominguez looked like he hurt himself when just before the end of play, where he was like on the floor for a while. So I think maybe we'll see Garcia back in, unless Garcia's injured, and in which case I'm struggling to think who get called up.
Garcia is not in the flying team.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll get flown out though. I think because if Fusco's injured as well, 9 could be an issue. So who would you call up? Is the question.
Jesinho. Let's play Jesse 9. No, honestly, I don't know who can play 9.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know who can. It has to be someone from Serie A. The return of Albanese. The return. Fly the man out. Albanese to Zebre. Oh, mate. Return to the high level.
From Lazio to South Africa. Polo Con. Used to play for
Joking aside, though, Otto, like, I don't know. Like, who's in the academy that could play?
Manca is injured. If I have to go get one, Baronio is the Viadana 9, but hey, maybe Stabile to start. You know what? All in Stabile 9.
Yeah, mate.
Stabile 9.
Yeah, I don't.
He can go
unless they sort out that 9 situation, though.
Bozzoni, which is always used as sometimes we seen him at 9, but let's see. Probably it's nothing for Fusca. We are just overthinking that.
Yeah, maybe. But if we're not overthinking it, Otto, like, it's a question that needs to be asked.
And Jelic is playing also with Valo Rugby. Am I right? He moved for a kind of different situation with him.
So to answer your question, if the 9s are injured, then I don't know who comes in. But I would say Stavile is a good shout. Probably have Krumov start. I'd like to see
Hasa, and then the team. More minutes for Ribaldi, just to manage different Di Bartolomeo.
Yeah, why not? If you want to do like a Springbok style where they play, if Di Bartolomeo comes on as the pasta pack, afterwards, like maybe we have the people who subbed on this half start the next game and have the players come in, but we'd have to see them in the game by the time they come on, because chasing a game against a South African opponent, like we said at the start, is just is no bueno for no one, mate.
No bueno. You mentioned the pasta pack, so I go on the silly questions. I have 2 silly questions, one from me and one from ChatGPT. Okay. So I'm gonna start with you mentioned the pasta. What kind of pasta is Di Bartolomeo? Is it Is it a mezza manica? Is it a rigatone? Is it a conchiglione? What is Di Bartolomeo? And then you have to answer more clearly.
No. He's ripieno. He's a tortellini. No, there we go.
Bartolomeo tortellino. I can see it.
Yeah. Pancetta.
Okay. Yeah. So Di Bartolomeo Stabile is a fusillo.
Easily. Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be that. And Priscentelli, Mike.
Right. I suppose he's tall. He's a little bit lanky, like spaghetti. Well, no, actually, no. Zambonini's spaghetti. Right. Let's find someone else. He's flary as well, though. I don't know. I think he might be. Let's say slightly thicker than spaghetti. Let's say he's a linguine. There you go.
He's a linguina. Okay, interesting. Who probably started stronger. Interesting because Ribaldi looked good, but I mean, looked average in this last game. Not something that I really wow, but Di Bartolomeo looks really busy in the game.
Yes, he is. He's everywhere, isn't he? Tackling everything. Like he's just. I. The time that he didn't play in Italy has probably put a bit of a bee in his bonnet. He looks good. He looks very good.
Mike, I'm going with my silly fun question, of
Go on.
course, because so if let me see, because I have to look through the one brought by ChatGPT because I want one of these. Which player from this match would you trust the most to park your car in a tight Roman street? And who would definitely hit a Vespa?
I mean,
ChatGPT.
full score, hands down. There we go. Like hitting that Vespa. I have to say it.
So
Family
who's
from the
going
region.
to hit the Vespa? Who's gonna park
Mate,
properly?
yeah, like even if he's not in the car, he's hitting the Vespa. Now let's see who would be good at parking the car.
Yes.
Not really. Has I
Who
suppose
you trust the most to park a
Uh,
car?
did Gregory play? Remind me, he did. Yeah,
Gregory play on the wing, on the left
yeah.
wing.
Probably one of the non-Italian boys. To be honest, I'll pick Gregory.
Okay, Gregory will park. And I have another bonus one
Go on.
from ChatGPT. If the shark versus zebra match were an Italian dish, what would it be? A well-balanced ossobuco or a chaotic carbonara with panna?
Wait, I think we've learned that ChatGPT is racist, right? just immediately, it's talking about bad driving and it's talking about
That's
pasta.
crazy.
That's
Hey, ChatGPT said with an Italian twist.
My apologies. With an Italian twist. There you go. I think it would be right with the Sharks. It has to be something which is like notoriously South African. They like their spicy food, don't they?
Braai,
I'd say,
biltong.
yeah, I'd say, right, let's say this. Let's say arrabbiata sauce, right? With pasta, but with what meat, Otto?
That's the point. Probably some kind of sausage, spicy sausage from South Africa. Because you know what? Because I was, as an Italian, probably disgusted a little bit looking at Franco Smith Jr. Instagram years ago. I remember to have seen this weird plate of pasta was a mix between South Africa and Italy. So yeah, let's get in that.
So disappointing.
Yeah. But that Zebra is everything. I'm going straight with another ChatGPT question, but for the Benetton's game, so we can move to the Benetton game. And this is with a touch of rugby banter, English-friendly question. ChatGPT, give me all these options.
Oh, nice.
If Benetton versus Edinburgh was a Netflix series, what would it be called? Game of Racks, Stranger Wins, or Squid Game for playoff spots?
None of the above. I think it'd be making a murderer. making a murderer would be I don't know. Who's the weirdest guy? Velicott. He's a cold-blooded serial killer. That man. There you go. He just loves to play against Italian teams, doesn't he? Velicott?
He always wants to speed the game up and trying to find solution. I don't know how he found that spot.
Hey, he's good. He's good. Like, yeah, and it's always against the Italian teams as well. Just has some hatred that gets him to the next level.
There are those players that always scored against some other teams. They're like, okay, this is my game. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna
Carl
shine.
Stein against Italy as well. Like any Italian team, Carl Stein will find a way of scoring.
Yeah,
always for Glasgow. Like,
my God, that's crazy. So, Mike, nice to see Superman Paolo Dogu back. Really,
yes,
consistent for 80 minutes.
Man, he's good. He's good. Like he just offers something different. Just offers that something different. He offers that something that we would have loved to have in Italian jersey. And also, I just want to quickly say it was really nice to see Quesada's Instagram like sharing all the tries from the Italian teams, and tagging Paolo and stuff, saying welcome back and stuff. Man, he's he's good, mate, and it's come at a good time. Hopefully, we see a couple of the other injured wingers back ahead of the championship rounds, but
we need that.
Yeah.
So great assist. He assist for Izagor, the try. A lot of legs in that field, a lot of movement, and that is what you want to see. I like to, because I see many times the wings together pushing guard, and when you put him and sometimes Menoncello game wide, it's always hard. And even if it was the best game for Menoncello and Brex, even if Brex was the one that gained more times the line advantage, but
they provide space, don't they?
And he also been used sometimes as a hard runner, a little bit outside of the center area of the field.
Yeah,
and something you want to see as a center, no? That kind of attack, really flat, strong. And I think it was interesting to see him playing in this way, because when you don't have Ratave, you have to push hard with a strong, fast winger, because Benetton always works really well when they have a winger. It was years ago when they have the better season ever of Ratuva.
Yes.
Yeah, and then they moved. They always had a really good, strong, kind of Pacific player, and Odogu is the Tortellino player that works really well in that way. Ratave is still a first choice, of course. Of course, he's still a first choice, I think.
I think so.
because
He was brilliant last season. People just forget because of recency bias, but he's
but still, Mike, I think it's still highly rated from the coaching staff, from the teammates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People just forget because a player hasn't been around for a little while, and another player comes in or another player comes back, and that recency bias means nothing. He's quality. He's so good, and he's the X factor that Benetton have been missing. Like with the games that they lost, quite close games that they lost, he probably would have got them over the line.
Mike, we mentioned on X before the game, commenting the teams that we have the Zuzegor in the flanker, because we have Braxton Cello and the Zuzegor, because Zuliani and Izegor. How you rate the two national players?
Yeah, I mean, they did a job. They were busy, right? They were busy, and you can tell that it means a lot to them that they got a start. I think actually, for all of the heat that Bortolami gets, I think he got selection spot on to this game, because actually when the bench came on, the bench blew Edinburgh away. There was a period where it looked like Edinburgh were coming back in. We weren't capitalizing. I did a 10-minute. If you guys go on the Twitter, you'll see that every 10 minutes I gave a bit of an update, and there was bits where Edinburgh was starting to come in, and realistically, their first try was the first time that they went into the 22, and it was from a crossfield kick, and they scored immediately. But Benetton had been hammering in the in the 22 in the red zone for so many phases, so many different attempts, but again, we couldn't finish. There's no, it's the same issue, Otto, that we have across all of our teams, right? When we get to the 22, we struggle to score.
That is, it's crazy. I didn't check how many entries in the 22. I'm waiting the update on the ranking from the URC, but for now we have only the players one. And it wasn't like, of course, issues when you lose the ball, but in general, I think what Benetton can do much better is attacking with those couple of momentum in attack, how not taking this ball flat or standing without running, because that's for me is a little bit of the issue in attack for Benetton at the moment, because maybe there are good ideas, but every time we see moments with the ball just standing and then trying to move and then trying to attack. So it's
Timing's off. I agree with that.
that
Massively.
there is some in the second half. There were many of these situations, and then there were those moments where there was momentum, there was speed, good ball presentation, good positioning of the players. But that is something that if Benetton solved this issue,
It'd be a
also
really strong team.
the
Yeah.
attack will shine more. We're gonna talk more about this Benetton's attack. We're gonna speak better of Troncon, of course, in that way. But for now, those tricks more.
It's just clunky, wasn't it? Like a lot of drop balls, a lot of balls thrown into touch, a lot of overrun runs, a lot of underrun runs. Like it just timings are off, and maybe you can say that it's because you've thrown a load of players that hadn't been there for the past, 2 months into a game without, maybe telling them what you've been working on over the last 2 months. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's fatigue. And I'm not just talking about the national team players. I thought Rhino Smith has played a lot of rugby. He looked like he played a lot of rugby this season.
This week
Yeah,
wasn't that
he
shiny.
just wasn't his normal self, and I think he'd been forced to play because of what's available. But sometimes if a team has been, because they use these international breaks as like a second pre-season, they get fit, they get players who are injured back in. They then just drill them. This is what we want to do. This is what we want to do.
And you
then you
don't
drop
have
people who've been out.
real game time in that
Yeah.
moment too.
Yeah.
So you don't have that kind of fatigue. You're not exposed to that kind of stress for your body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and also the mental one to get up, emotionally for a game is tough.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Because you can
Zebre,
see the ghosts from
Yeah.
the last games. There's
Yeah.
crap, it can happen because they were really close to happen that way. If you think about the red card, that's saved in a certain way because they were going backwards, but then okay, cool, Edinburgh did the mistake, commit the mistake, the foul, everything. Thank
it's terrible
you.
red card. Yeah, it's terrible.
Thank you. Let's take it and let's attack.
Yeah,
But
they did it. They did it because of pressure, though. That didn't change the course of the game, in my opinion. Benetton were on the front foot. Menoncello and Tuipolota, I don't know if you noticed. I noticed it early. They were at each other all game. Like Menoncello flying in, smashing him every single time he could. Tuipolota trying to do back. Like that was like that wasn't an accident, right? Like that tackle. That wasn't like an unintentional shoulder charge. That was just a silly red card.
It was Mosese, the Italian.
Yeah.
The Italian Tibulodo, because guys, yes, also Mosese Tibulodo could have been Italian.
Still can. He hasn't been capped, has he?
Still can. I think so. Yeah, I think so. But he's in Edinburgh. They're gonna kick him.
And then there's your one, Ottavio Tuipolota.
Ottavio Tuipolota, the hooker from the Melbourne Rebels. Yes, was from Melbourne Rebels. I don't know this week because I didn't watch a lot of Super Rugby. Sadly,
I've watched zero Super Rugby this season so far. So I've got to be honest. I'm not well versed. I can see Tiziano's been getting teams riled up for the. You see what he's talking about, Curry. I love that. He does Otto. He does not give a fuck. Let's be honest. He just does not care. Like that. I like that. He's just got a bit of C about him. It's the same thing we always say. He has C about him. He doesn't care.
Wrong jersey, Mike. That's the only point with Tiziano.
Imagine
wrong jersey. But talking about jerseys, 80 minutes for oh my god, Patrizio Tiziano, the brother, Tiziano brother. He played for Mogliano in the Serie A Elite is a 9.
Yeah,
and he played pretty well. He's almost scored a try because Kinji didn't pass the ball.
I saw that. He was like miles. That was just a walk in.
There was the wing coming in, and maybe Kinji thought that, but give the ball to Tiziano. Let me see more Tiziano. Good passing technique to that Varney-esque. Yes. It was good. Next game is Cardiff for Treviso.
Big game.
Home again, Mike. And I love that is another home again. A week more. Is it gonna start with Umaga or Albornoz?
Umaga.
Umaga's looked chaotic but good.
Yeah.
Even if he missed some kicks, but he looked
yeah,
good.
but again, like some
Motivation.
mistakes were his, right? But some mistakes weren't his. Some mistakes were clearly like there was a couple of like passes round the back that went to the floor, and you can see that there was players that overran or made a mistake or weren't in position. Like with those
when they open like
when he opens up
one after the other one.
Yeah.
Nice, but
Yeah. So some were his fault, some weren't. And actually when he's good, and like some of the lines that he ran, like when he spotted that gap for the over, I think it was for a Dogwoo's try. Beautiful. He's on form. Let him play. He needs confidence. He'll be important for us if he finds it.
Marin, Josh Rose, because this was a game that I was I was really hoping for him to play, but
me too. When is this boy going to find game time?
Let's see what's gonna happen. Maybe he's gonna play in South Africa, Mike. I have this idea.
Imagine him going to like an English club. Like he just not at 10 maybe, but like he does so well.
London Irish. No, but let me think. A team where you can put Marine 10, Newcastle Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, like Quins had Jared Evans, and Jared Evans turned like they invested time in him, and he turned out good.
That's good. Let me think. Even he can be even. How much
Slade is playing 10 at Exeter, by the way, right? So like he could easily play 10 there.
Look, you know what? He can also come to the red team of England. That, of course, has been smashed 42-26 yesterday, Gloucester. But we have space because Santi Carreras is a traitor. He's going to Bath, so.
It's a traitor.
He's a traitor. Come on.
I swear you have someone else coming in, though.
We have some good Ben Loader. We have...
No. So you have... maybe it's... Sorry?
The former centre of London Irish, Will Joseph, the young one.
No. I mean at 10. Yeah, I know Will Joseph's coming from us, but
Ross Byrne, right? We have Ross
Byrne.
Guys, yes, yeah. I'm a Gloucester supporter, so that's why sometimes it hurts this week. And Josh, of course, hopefully move from that, and this situation, if it's gonna happen next year,
I wouldn't want him to go to Zebre.
He's gonna open some scenario that I want to understand what's gonna happen, because you cannot stay with 3 Italian plus the superstar at the moment, which is Fratelli. So what's happening between these players? Because you also has Trulla. What you gonna do? Each of them give you something different, but okay, where is our plan?
Fratelli to Benetton, right?
Oh, I thought Josh in England.
Watch Josh.
No, Josh wants Marine Farrell, but this is a traditional idea that we have, a lot of us, and of course we have also Robbie saying that Marine at 10. Yes, but where? Hey, maybe next year will change, but let's see. Cardiff, Mike. 4 points are enough in this game.
Mate, no, they need a 5-point victory, I think.
Fantastico.
I just think like now they need to start building. Like they got away with like the poor performance. They won ugly, which is not something that we could say about many Italian teams. They won ugly. They deserve to win. But now
the last 5 finals, Mike. Right, I was saying they have 5 finals. Talking about Izagor after the Six Nations, no?
Yeah.
We have finals. These are the 6 finals. Now they're less. So, yeah, but they can do it. They can do it if they find, unity probably in every intent, in every action, how the way they have to move, and it's something that also Zebre showed in the last game. So let's see what's gonna happen. It's gonna be hard maybe this week, maybe we're gonna be happy just for one of them, but let's see. We expecting performance as usual. You can lose, but you have to play your brand of rugby, your style, or you have to show how a C you can be in the
That's
field.
right.
Needed, huh?
And a
That's it.
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack, yes. So guys, that's everything for today. See you next week after another round. We're gonna go into round 14 of the URC. We are almost there. Then it's gonna be Championship Cup. We're gonna see some guests soon, so keep it up. Like, subscribe, and if you want, drop us a comment, and we are happy to share info and stuff. Go watch everything on Instagram and the shorts on YouTube. Mike, have a good night and see you next Monday.
See you later. Ciao.
Fratelli, the rugby podcast. The Italian rugby podcast. Fratelli, the rugby podcast. The Italian rugby podcast. The Italian rugby podcast. The Italian rugby podcast.